Emergency shelters play a critical role in communities. They are often the first responders to people's homelessness. They are often the only responders to people's homelessness because oftentimes there aren't a lot of places for people to go. Shelters are really providing oftentimes a life-saving resource for people, taking them off the street, taking families out of cars, out of tents, and taking care of people who otherwise would be out on the street. A high barrier shelter is a shelter that may have a lot of rules or regulations. The shelter may say you can't use substances or we're going to test you for drugs and alcohol before you come in. A lot of times the policies and rules around shelters are not necessarily keeping people safe, but rather they're keeping people who really, really need shelter from being allowed into the shelter. The low barrier shelter model is really taking a housing first orientation and deciding that everybody is ready for housing right away, and then housing people first is what allows them to address all their other needs. Once you put people in housing first, then they can address their other needs, such as income, child support, getting a job, and getting substance abuse treatment, getting their medication, being compliant with mental health treatment. That's much more difficult in shelter, and it's much easier to do in housing. Shelters that have transitioned from a more high barrier model to a low barrier housing focused model are able to serve more people because people are staying in shelter for a shorter amount of time, and they're seeing people return less back because they've given them a more permanent solution. Oftentimes we are making people good at staying in shelter instead of helping them get housed. Emergency shelters are engaging people at some of the toughest times in their lives, and we want to put as few barriers in the way of them getting the help that they need.